Right, let's have a look at these Caulfield quaddies. We've already done a preview of races 1 to 5 for those worthy subscribers in the Melbourne Pro Punter channel. So if you want to look at that particular set of tips, where Gord has found some easy bets, you'll need to be a subscriber of the Melbourne Pro Punter channel on Slack. And the way you do that is you click the eye in the top right-hand corner and click on the link and sign up for 2 weeks of no payment to get a look at Roy's sets, which you'll be which are available in the channel, and as well as some early suggestions and some updates through the day. And not just that, the little tidbits, the pickings through the week, that the tidbits that Roy throws out like crumbs in the channel. So there's not just the Saturday set from Melbourne, but there's anything else that takes his fancy. To do that, to avail yourself of that, you need to be a subscriber. We are going to look at races 6 to 9 at Caulfield and the feature at Eagle Farm, which is the Tats Tiara. We can report at Caulfield that the rail is out 12. There has been some rain around, but the consensus amongst, well, certainly between Roy and I, is that we're looking at a dead track, even in spite of perhaps some precipitation tomorrow. And my forecast of the pattern is, well, I'm not too fearful of drawing wide, not too fearful of being wide, perhaps not on a limb, but I'd be happy to come wide in the straight, I would think. So we're up to race 6. Let's see if we can, well, I'm sure we can get Gord involved in this one. The Black Cloud down from Sydney is $3.60. 16 reasons. He's toying with us here, Will Clark, and he's stuck 2 horses in this race and accepted for both of them at Wolfertville as well. 16 reasons is a firmer here at $8.50. But ahead of that is Cheers to That, which is $5.50 in second pick. Empress of Wonder is the only other one under double figures at $9.50. The map here has Romantic Choice down low. The Black Cloud has got to get across, well, Shame, which it should do easily. Thinking of Gertie is in this speed map, but it is, of course, going around at Bendigo today, so we can scrub it. Roy, is there a chance the Black Cloud could lead this race? Favourite Child, of course, has got speed on from 1 as well.
Yeah, no, it's definitely possible. The Romantic Choice might kick up a little as well from, although it's only got barrier 2, so it's, you know, it's drawn in close. So, yeah, I mean, it's very possible. I've never really been sure where exactly they want the Black Cloud ridden. Sometimes it's forward, sometimes it's just behind them. And then even one day, I think from memory at Randwick, it was about midfield, maybe 4 lengths off the lead. So,
yeah, well, that was with the leaner on board.
Yeah, I think they'll probably have to press on.
All right. Does she take your fancy, or did you find it tougher than the 5 to 2 suggests?
I think that there's probably not a lot between it and Cheers to That myself. I mean, Cheers to That's got the map issue with the wide draw, but it seems to be going very well. It's won 5 from 9, you know, it just keeps hitting the line, fought back the other day, kept going. You know, I think there's probably not a lot between them. At the price, I'll probably have to lean to Cheers to That. But I do think that I feel like the market's made a bit of an error here with this number 15 Edgerton. It didn't go a yard in that heavy track at Mornington to my eye. Yes, the 2 wins prior were at Pakenham, but they were pretty comfortable. Won them quite handsomely. It's obviously got to get a run in emergency, but I think at the moment it's sort of $16 or something. And I think that's very takeable. So that's certainly a horse of interest. The only other horse I thought, I mean, I struggled to get excited about the others. The only other horse I thought maybe worth mentioning, Smart Little Miss is a horse who can get out a mile out of its ground. Maybe if you can make up ground, it could be some sort of a chance at a price. 2 starts ago at Sandown, it was just another postcode. I mean, I know it's that kind of horse, but it certainly, you know, it certainly could do something at a price. But that was my thoughts. I'd certainly have to be all over Edgerton if it got a run.
Okay, 16 reasons. What's the go with it? I just didn't, I see all that Adelaide stuff and quickly move on. Is there a reason why we should have stopped and interrogated it, Roy?
It's got an awful map, doesn't it? Like back and wide,
But has
maybe.
it got any form to begin with? I mean, let map aside.
From what I can see, it's best when, they go hard and collapse.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Exposed mare, Gord. Is it a time to bar up over this favourite, the Black Cloud?
Maybe. Clarkin's just always, he's auto tied in the market in the
Okay,
earlies.
all right, so
He's
it's
a well-backed
suspicion.
stable.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's about number 7, guys, 16 reasons. What are we going to say? Well, do you watch the replay of the Black Cloud and you see World Alliance go past it like it's on a treadmill? Is that any sort of a negative?
Well, yeah, but then you think about the fact that Memoria and Cosmonova have beaten your boyfriend Kerguelen.
Yeah, I was just about to start the positives, Mark, and and that is World Alliance can do stuff like that on its day. So I wouldn't be marking down the Black Cloud. Obviously, on top of that, it only had the 820-meter trial, and Pride is not have them absolutely steaming first up kind of a trainer. Also, have a look at Pride. He's dead set airborne at the moment, guys. Absolutely airborne. So you've got a stable flying. You've got good lines, as Mark mentioned, even though some people might say Canterbury and maybe be slightly more negative about it. Not for me. If it shows up, it wins. Saying that, it went up a nice price and now it's into probably its right price. So early shoppers, if you had your form done early, I think you've shopped well. And I'm just, I don't care about these others in the market. If they beat me, they beat me. They just don't have proper metropolitan form. Like, cheers to that. I mean, I've got to, I've already backed it, but could I go?
Yeah,
do
so
I
tell
go
us.
again?
Well, cheers
do
for
I
it.
go again?
Cheers to that.
Okay,
Has beaten up Gitalong, who's been he's found a lot of favour in Saturday races up here. So I guess that's interesting.
Get Along was the horse mark that I said was my lay of the day the other day because I don't think it's got any ability. So I mean that's not a good line for me to take as far as that horse in this race is concerned. The Black Cloud's got stuff around. Season A list, commemorative. It's all just like really rock solid stuff. Now, the question is, World Alliance going past it like it was stationary. We've made our reasons why that's all right, particularly because the form out of that Canterbury race has been franked in Saturday Metropolitan racing. And the other problem that we need to get over is the fact that the horse hasn't won for a while, but I think it's been in a lot stronger races than it's found on this occasion. And the next thing we need to sort of understand or whatever is, and that is that how is it going to go this way of running? Now, you guys might have a look there and, see that it actually has been down to Melbourne for a victory, but the victory was down the straight at Flemington. So it's not proven round the bend that way of going, but it is proven down the straight at Flemington. It's somewhat franking as far as going down to Melbourne and still being able to perform. That's a tick. Bend running that way, not proven yet, but not disproven because it's only run down there was at Flemington Straight. So I think it'll be winning. Black Cloud. Do I go again or not is the only question I need to answer.
Well, I would say yes. It was the only horse that this is such a perfect race for it. Second up. Roy, I just wanted your opinion on Empress of Wonder, which of course has got the names Splashback and Cleo Cat next to it. Does that count? Does that carry any weight?
Yeah, I did see that, and it was the first thing I obviously thought when I read its form for today's meeting, but it just hasn't done enough. It was a limited horse in Sydney, I think, and when it was, with Neesham and
she was an early 2-year-old that was sort of just doing her best. And
there was a little bit of hype about the horse a while ago.
Yeah, well, she ran the Magic Millions.
Finished alongside Zabella last time. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. Right. That's probably enough on race 6, which is the first leg of the quaddie. Now we move to an 84 over 1200. They can test you. Moby Dick, $5.50. La Fracas, which is also it's been scratched from Sydney, I think, despite being a 99th emergency here. La Fracas is $7. Zoo Sensation is a firmer at $7. $7.50 Keep You Cool. $8 Chinqui. $8 Ryakoki, who has had a jump out since its resuming run, as has Big Me, as has Zethus for what it's worth. Big Me, a dual acceptor at Morphettville, and Carbonados is in at Rose Hill. Map here. Well, Ryakoki's drawn outside Chinqui, and at first blush I'd say Chinqui's a faster horse, but there may be more intent from Ryakoki at the scene of his career peak, which was at his second start, beating Brave Mead. Red Hot Nick, I've got showing speed. I'm not so sure about that. Talbraga now has a jockey and it's got pace. Carbonados was snagged back last start, but more of an on pace of 1400 from 3 there, and Home Rule has a little bit of speed. I see the speed from coming from out wide here, Roy.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Chinqui and Ryakoki probably the ones pressing forward. I did have Red Hot Nick up there, but I'm happy to be told otherwise.
Well, no, I mean, it can hand up. It doesn't have to sort of like, the question is, would it try and keep them out? That's really the map question, isn't it?
Fair enough. I thought they'd run along, so I was led to Zoo Sensation here. Barrier 1's probably the knock. I mean, late in the day, I'm not quite sure if that's going to be the place to be, but at this point in time, I was happy with the first up run. It was wide, seemed to, run on pretty well. Last time in, it ran on well behind inhibitions. I think that form's good enough for this race. It's not an easy race. This is a tough race. I think the market's going to stay.
So, Roy, we made the point last week that the outside 5 barriers basically filled the 5 positions on that day, which was something I noted about Zoo Sensation. Go on.
Yeah. Look, I mean, it's a bit of a concern barrier 1 on Saturday, but I mean, it just profiles really well for this race, I think. Hopefully midfield and sort of peeling off somewhere would be the play. But look, you can make a case for Ryakoki. It was good first up. It'll probably improve second up. There's plenty of horses here that, you can make a case for. Maybe Dick doesn't interest me. I know it's sort of favourite at the moment, I think, isn't it?
Well, he's keeping his powder dry. This is, what do we say about it? Just that, he's a lurker here in perhaps the right half of the draw. That's
might be in the right part of the track.
Usually thereabouts, and still relatively lightly raced, and still has some very short SPs in his CV. So he's just one of the usual suspects, I suppose.
Yeah, and apart from that, I thought it was a pretty tough race. There's plenty of chances in there. Keep You Cool, be thereabouts. It's a tough one, but I think Zoo Sensation is the starting point.
Good. Have you got better than a starting point here? Yeah, I do. Clearly on top number 3, Zoo Sensation. Like, it's just absolutely perfect race. Like second up, I kind of liked what it did last start. The line through 0-2 good, not looking too bad off that performance after its like annihilation of a race after that. Like, it was so impressive after that. I don't have any information on Butterfly Bit, guys. I don't have that, so I'm not sure what that means. Maybe somebody can do a search for me on Butterfly Bit, but I don't actually have that. Geez, I wish it hadn't have drawn 1, Roy.
Yeah, it's a worry.
But I mean, this price range, like, I'm not going to get too concerned about that stuff. Found the exact right race. I think it's come back well. By the way, there was a mid-prep jump out as well, which I really liked. That was nice. I don't think any of these others are superstars. I think there's some mistakes in the market of some of these being priced far shorter when they haven't won. They're pretty much proven nonnies who haven't done a lot recently. So that makes me want to get involved in this horse even more. Just really comfy, easy bet for me. And it's got runs in its career that'd own it as well. So what we've got to decide is it with us? I think there's enough evidence to say it is. So that makes it a bet. I had a guy who bets on more races in Australia than anybody else in the world, and who came up with the most profitable one variable pearl or data point in the history of professional gambling in Australia. And I think you'll know which horse he rang me about, Mark, which is number 11, Keep Your Cool. He was very keen on it, shall we say. So, but I like to listen to him only as far as one variable is concerned, not multiple. So.
Did I see a couple of deep fields in this race? Or maybe I spotted the deep fields across the program, but I'm saying that what I've got is a 7.6 at Mornington that was assessed perhaps as a 9 officially. Was a good bit wetter than this Caulfield track is likely to be, but she did return with a win. She's definitely in the race. Keep you cool, right? Chinqui, Roy, like she seems. Oh, he. I don't know why I think Chinqui is female, but he seems a very honest, big-hearted conveyance, jumping around in distances. What are you expecting from him?
Oh, he's got to be in the race. If you go back to the race 2 back, he did a lot of work up the front that day in that namesake race where he ran 3rd. And, that's probably why he was able to go back to the 1,000 metres and get a win there at Sandown. I must say that at Sandown, everything seemed to go perfectly.
Yep. So, what you see is what you get.
Probably get it.
Yeah, because obviously that namesake race also carries Raikoki. Now, Raikoki, he was poor in Sydney last campaign, like dreadful. Yeah, even the race that he poked, that he did something in was like a gift. They just dawdled along in front. The J-Mac on Moravia sat outside. But if I scrub that preparation, it all looks fine. And second up here, spearing forward with the jump out since its first up run, it sort of interests me. But Raikoki. Race 8, back to a staying race. Let's see if we can pin Gord down here. Say Daddy. So there's a fair bit of form out of the 1,800 metre Sandown lead up. $3.70 and a firmer. Earlswood out of the same race is $5. Charterhouse is $8.50. Dublin Journal $9. Flash Feeling, the Flemington winner, $9.50. Milford now with the Hayes Yard at $10, and that's pretty much it for the market. Speed here is all bits and pieces out wide. Generally rolls. Earlswood was ridden further back than I thought last time, but he may have to go forward here. Amberite just underneath it has some speed. I'd expect Sadati to be positive from 3, and King Frankel's sort of the wild card out wide, trying to get him fit for something, I suppose. What are you expecting here, Roy?
Yeah, probably what you sort of mentioned there with King Frankel. He's probably
spicing it up
lead again, I guess. Drew the wide barrier the other day. Wide barrier again, so he's probably the likely leader. I mean, Sadati will be up there, punching through from an inside draw, and I don't know whether they'll go forward on pudding this time. There's sort of
another dual acceptor pudding, which might be well placed at Morfettville.
I don't know why they went forward on it the other day, but anyway.
Yeah, it was against pattern or against type. What can you pull this race apart?
I thought it was pretty straightforward. I don't think there's any way you can't have Earlswood on top as the one to beat. I've watched that Sandown race multiple times, and it was going up 400 metres in distance. I understand it got a nice run from the barrier 2 there, but it was badly held up. You can't deny it. And it really only got warmed up with got balanced and hit the line with 150 to go and was doing just as good as Saban on the line. You have to be with it. The guy
he was more held up than Milford.
Milford's the other one that was held up.
Yeah, okay.
Milford's the other one that was held up. That's correct. It had no luck, and it does like Caulfield's won 3 times there, so you got to respect it. But I don't think you can deny Earlswood. I think it's the one. I mean, barrier 10's a little bit awkward, but you get a serious jockey. John Allen. So, you have to be with it off that race. That's the only race that is coming in as the lead-up form, correct?
Well, I mean, you can go to Flash Feeling at Flemington, which was a complete joke fast race. That was just
can't. So you have to be with Earlswood as the top pick, and surprisingly, it's second favourite, $5, whereas Sadati's $3.70. I guess people think maybe today's the day, third up for the ex-European. I don't know. I mean,
yeah, well, I think it's got to do with the SPs there. Earlswood, there might be a school of thought. I know it's got 2,000-metre wins in Europe, but the local profile seems to be a mile stretching itself just to 2,000.
Yeah, well, you could be right. I mean, it was 1,800 last time, so it's it seemed to be doing its best work on the line that day. But it has only won at 1,600 Ballarat or whatever, so it's a bit of a query.
All right, but Earlswood on top from you. Gord, have you got anything to say about this race?
Yes. It's not my kind of race, that's what I'll say. So that's something to say, isn't it?
By surprise.
But I just think I have to bet. I just have to follow Roy in. I don't know why it's not favourite number 4, Earlswood. Just seems like an obvious, easy bet. Positive jockey change, third up. Nice progression, 14, 18, 2000. Ran in some pretty nice 2,000-metre stuff, in the Ballarat Cup, for example, before it went for a spell where, was map positive and pretty strong late. I don't know. It just seems like an easy bet for me, but this isn't my speciality. So I'll. What I'm saying is Roy's confidence has given me the confidence to bet in the race.
Perhaps Mark is correct that the 2,000 metres is a slight query, but
I don't think so.
I mean, it looks all right.
It's a
very, very nuanced suggestion there. All right, so Gord and Roy line up there. I certainly went looking.
Well, to be honest, I should get a copyright violation there for that one.
Well, quite possibly, but you obviously knew what we were talking about.
Yeah, so we did the review, didn't we, Gordon?
You did, exactly.
It was plain as day that Earlswood was the best run in the race behind Saban.
Yeah, for everybody out there, Roy and I review all the Saturday Metropolitan races in Victoria in the channel.
Subscribers, so, yeah. I sort of had to tick too many horses here.
You're letting the side down, Mark. The 2,000 metres and above provide some clarity.
I know, brother. But this wretched, awful Charterhouse, which comes out of the same race, and wasn't necessarily held up in that race. But I go back to his Caulfield Country Cup final. I don't know how he was in the Country Cup final because he didn't run any Country Cups, but he was the Torrenzino race back in November. So he fits in on a score of course and distance creds there. So Earlswood, Milford, Sadati. I'm going to leave it. Well, I'm not going to leave it to you, but I found it a race that I couldn't really pin down. Let's get to the last, where the Open is a perennial and has found himself as favourite again, $4.20. Regal Vow back in distance, but only 1,600 to the 1,440, and a firmer after Jimmy the Bear made that form look good last week. $6. Running by, will she or won't she? I'll say if they say 7, she won't, but I'd say the track is probably okay for her. $8. Yellow Sam off the Swan Hill Cup is $8. Limsal Toro and Oscar's Fortune and Run Harry Run occupy positions just under double figures there. It's a pretty standard looking open handicap. And wow, I don't know who's going to pick the leader in the last. I mean, maybe Edison will absolutely put his foot down, second up here from a long spell. But Oscar's Fortune, Who Dares, Limsal Toro, Dashing, Military Expert, Edison Reinberg. They've got Running By as one of the leaders. Well, I think she's a sitter here. And Run Harry Run raced up on the speed the other day. He'd be looking for a park, an on-speed park, but I can't imagine that he'd actually contest. But Roy, they do seem to be a lot of leaders here.
Yeah, there does, certainly. I mean, Edison didn't lead the other day from memory, but it was first up, I guess. Missed the start from memory.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's obviously pressing on. Military Experts, one horse that can go forward, although it is the third emergency. So keep an eye out for that. But like you mentioned, there is a couple of others. Oscar's Fortune, it's quick. It's in barrier 1, but it's quick. Dashing will be pushing up. Limbs will be pushing up from barrier 6. So, yeah, I mean, there's plenty of tempo on here, I think.
Yeah. And I guess that may explain why, or one of the reasons that the Open continues to carry favour. It's got the blinkers on here.
Yeah, I think the Open, and that's why the market sort of warmed to the Open and Regal Vow. They're the sort of slippers. So, I can see why they've gone that way. Personally, do I think there's any value in them? No. Am I going to channel the review video that we talked about just previously? Yes, Runny Harry Run was a great run at Sandown, which we highlighted, Gord and I. And I think it's a good price. I think it's priced, probably primarily because of the draw. It, mapped in hell is probably what some people would say. But it's only one factor. And if he gets in, he'll run a mighty race. He was exposed a long way out and just got grabbed by the favourite Hughes there in the last at Sandown that day. They ran along in that race. It was a good run. So I think you've got to have something on it. As for the others, it's pretty tough. I mean, obviously the Open's going to be there. Regal Vow will be there running on. I must say, I think number 1 Dashing seems, a generous price at the moment. It's sort of 20 to 1. Did nothing wrong at Swan Hill. It was exposed a long way there. Maybe people think it needs a wet track nowadays or something because its last 2 wins have been on wet tracks. But
I mean, they're saying a 7, so surely the market is
yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah, it probably won't be. But I mean, at the same time, it did a good job there at Swan Hill. That form's not completely hopeless. That was a fairly reasonable race. So Hollyman's ran second anyway. I thought it was big price at 20 to 1, but. Oh, look, there's a couple of others you can make. Yeah, it's a standard Open handicap, isn't it? You can make a case for Oscar's Fortune, Limbs. It's, Yellow Sam. It's going to be on. They're going to cross the line together here, aren't they?
You've said enough. You've said that, Run Harry Run represents a betting opportunity because the market is
bet every day of the week.
Yeah, the market. Well, there you go. One of Gord's easy bets. Gord, have you got an easy bet here?
No, I don't. There's so many horses with Jimmy the Bear. Jimmy the Bear is the marker here, isn't it, for every horse in this race? Like, for Christ's sake, that just makes me feel sick. Didn't we say on our review show the other day we want that horse to retire, Roy?
Well, that would have been putting it nicely.
Yeah. There's nothing worse than yinning when you yang. Well, sorry, whatever it is. Go on, Gord.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at War Machine lines here too, which is quite interesting, isn't it? Like, wow, that stuff's been franked, but so many of them have that form. I mean, even some of these ex-Singaporean horses have lines that don't look too bad, or those good lines that maybe means they could do something. No, there's not a comfortable bet for here. I'll just say that the 2 I had the longest looks at, was number 5, Run Harry Run, and number whatever, Regal Vow. I ended up going for Regal Vow on top of Run Harry Run, but Roy. So that was
sets up nicely for it, the race, doesn't it?
Yeah, I just had a problem with the barrier 2 and map position. Could be a problem. Like, I mean, to be honest, I'd rather be out of 16 Run Harry Run than 2 with Regal Vow. But I mean, does Bates just show no intent, and it's just out the back from the inside drawer anyway, and then right blinkers, whatever. So
the settling map has it last easily.
Yeah. So
it's missed the start. Its last 9 runs.
Right. So you need to be betting in play.
But it's got blinkers first time.
Yeah, well, that'll make it miss the start even more. It goes in and it gets the second horse to go in, or a third horse to go in. It sits there with its blinkers on, and starter says
so mate, you're considering blinkers like those ladies that wear the silk eye mask when they go to bed. You know? So
Yeah. She has
gonna
a
go
little.
to sleep in the barriers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
By the way, I've been wearing them lately. They work pretty good, guys. So
All right.
yeah,
Eye mask. Another tip from Gord.
yep.
It's not running around on a Saturday, but it can be part of your sleep apparel every night if you so choose.
Jeez.
For what it's worth, I'm giving
Trademark that.
running by third up. I realised that I did talk about what a great run Harry run was last time, but he set himself up at the Sandown, and coming to Caulfield, I'm going to give running by the nod there. We have a look at a single race from Eagle Farm, which is the feature. I think it's the last feature of the carnival. It's the Tats Tiara, and good old J-Max up there to try and get a Group 1 for Firestorm. She's $4.40. Floozy, the victor of the lead up, is $4.60. $7.50 Tashi, chase Floozy home. And and then it gets wide. Grinzinger Bell for T. Clark is next on the betting at $14. The map has Bubba's Bay and Grinzinger Bell going out together. Bubba's Bay trying 1,400 metres, but on the 7-day back up from Ipswich. Grinzinger Bell for T. Clark. It does feel like it's well and truly finding the lead with Bubba's Bay outside, and the next position is basically up for grabs. Whoever wants to try and take that position, and given that it's Group 1 for mares, they're all busting a boiler here. Gord, how are you playing this race?
Just go to Roy first. I'm just checking something out.
Well, I'm saying that Roy may not have actually looked at this race.
Oh, he knows the horses. He can say something.
Well, I'll talk about the race then, because I have done this race. And, first things first. I mean, Floozy got the right run the other day, I'm sick to death of Tashi, despite the fact that she sort of seemed to attack the line in that race. I think 1,400 is far enough for her at this stage of a long preparation. So I went to number 8, Abounding, who, if you have a look at its form, has drawn 20, 20, 20, 20, 20. So Abounding, number 6, obviously competed in that lead up and was restrained from a whitish gate after beginning well. So in its last 7 starts, it's drawn 12, 13, 12, 13, 15, 10, 16. And it drew 16 in this race last year when it ran 4th to Bella Nipotina. I would prefer Jason Collett on it, but that's not to be. It's got Rachel King on it, but I thought this was the horse that would get...
I think from memory it was locked away too in that race last year.
Probably, well, because it would have gone back in the race last year. Floozy is an obvious starting point. Firestorm, well, I haven't got rid of it, but I said 2 weeks ago that its form is fresh, although second up is all right as well. I suppose J-Mac will produce something in this race, and I guess this is its target. So I guess it's fair enough that it's hard in the market.
I think you also mentioned too that it loves Rose Hill.
It does love Rose Hill, and those second up runs have been at Rose Hill. Obviously, the Coolmore, the whatever they call that race now, probably is the Coolmore, and second up the preparation before it won at 1,900 at Rose Hill. Grinzinger Bell, I think, is perhaps worth a look, given that she's got different form and she's got T. Clark and she's map positive here, and they've all been set for the race. But I mean, this horse has gone looking for this race. Gord, what are you doing in this race?
Well, I'm going to be against the obvious lead up, and there's a couple of reasons why, and that is so much percentage is coming out of that 1,300 metres at Eagle Farm. But on top of that, the winner of the race, which obviously you've got to give credit to, was just absolute PR. And Tashi was a better run than the winner Floozy. So that anchors...
You had to be on the pace, wasn't it, Floozy? When it went.
Yeah. So I think that anchors so much percentage that maybe we can get a roughie to knock these off with a little bit of DF coming into this race. And I just wanted to, there's 2 horses of particular interest for me. Guys, I'm not saying they're none or anything like that, but they're taken up Well, they're taking up over 50% of the market. So, shit, I've got to be against that with the fact that there's some other decent horses here. Like this number 2 Grinzinger Bell is such an easy bet. Map positive TC back in grade. I mean, we were map positive against Fangirl, Steffi Magnetica, Atishu. I mean, that was over 1,600 metres as well. Now, obviously, notice those. They were run-on horses, and this horse was on the pace. Only got beaten 5 lengths on that occasion. That's a really good run, man. I know its win before that was at Moonee Valley, and people might argue that it is kind of like a Moonee Valley-like horse, but like it was super dominant to show it's in great form. $14 to find out. That's just so much more of a comfortable bet for me. And then there's a super roughie that might be gone, but Jesus found a couple of ticks for me, and it's number 6 Curvalante. Now, I'm just really interested in the stable change, the second up, the 12 to the 14, in which it's run some lovely runs over 1,400 metres. And in its career, it's actually linked to some of these others. Actually, it's linked to Grinzinger Bell a while ago as well. So I just thought Hayes, didn't we mention he's turned a couple of these horses on recently?
Yep.
It was only a pass mark first up at 1,200 metres. That's just a glorified barrier trial to get it ready for this race, which is I'd think it's grand final. So, look, it's 30 to 1 to find out. So I am crossing my fingers that the obvious lead up is wrong, and I am 2 Grinzinger Bell from 6 Curvalante.
That's the feature at Eagle Farm. Don't forget that we'll be covering Rose Hill, which is Mark Connor's race day. I'll be running a punters club on Saturday for the group, the club. That's up on the level 3 of the grandstand at Rose Hill. I'll also be doing a preview of Rose Hill tomorrow with Glenn and Gord. And if you remember, which you should be, because you'll then get a discount off your Melbourne Pro Punter service of $7 a week, which is more than half your silver membership and a good chunk of your gold membership. So make sure you're a member as well when you sign up to the Melbourne Pro Punter service, so you can watch us talk about Rose Hill tomorrow. Thank you, Roy. We look forward to your contributions up until and including Saturday at Caulfield. And thanks again to Gord. I'll see you tomorrow.
See you guys. Good luck.
See you. Good luck.